concern. There's no doubt about it.
I know, but I don't think so. I hope. What's that?
Do we have the police up there? What's the date, Drew? I'd like to call this meeting order, Struthers City Council, Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, 7 p.m. Clerk, can you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Ballack?
Here.
Mr. Bayes?
I'm here.
Mr. Beagley?
Here.
Mr. Burnside?
Here.
Mr. Curcelli?
Here.
Mrs. Goman? Here. Ms. Pinkley? Here. President Patrick?
Here, can we stand for the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I need a motion right now to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the first regular meeting dated Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, except and prepared by the clerk. Dallas makes the motion.
Make a motion?
Ronnie seconds that.
Yes. Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Here. Or
Mr.
yes.
Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Curcelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Goman? Yes. Ms. Pinkley?
Okay. Communications, we have three pieces.
Yes. Number one, City of Struthers Treasury Report for the month of March 2024 submitted by Mark T. Brenner, Struthers City Treasurer. Number two, Struthers City Auditor's monthly statement of cash position, revenue reports with transfers in and out, and expense transaction ledger reports for the month of March 2024, submitted by Christina S. Bull, Struthers City Auditor. And number three, Mayor's Report dated Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, submitted by Mayor Captain Chacon.
Okay, I need a motion right now to receive and file our communication. Ricky makes a motion.
Motion received.
Dallas seconds that.
Yes. Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Curcelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Goman?
Yes.
Ms. Pinkley?
Okay, Mayor's Report. Mayor, you read your report in the caucus. Do you have anything else you want to add? Questions or comments for our mayor? Okay, report of standing committees.
Fire and Police Committee meeting 6 p.m. May 1st, 2024.
Okay,
Finance and Legislation Committee meeting to follow police and fire.
okay, thank you. Any other committees? Okay, we have two pieces of legislation on this. Anyone wishing to address council on legislation only at their time, they're welcome to do so by coming up to the podium and state your name and address for record. Legislation only at this time. If none, we'll go to number one, which is the third reading.
Number one, third reading, an ordinance contracting for health services as provided in section 3709.08 of the Ohio Revised Code, where the City of Struthers will contract for health services from the Honey County General Health.
Okay, right now, I need a motion to pass as read.
Pass
Ron
as
makes
read.
the motion.
Second. Second.
Lori seconds that.
Yes. Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Curcelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Goman?
Yes.
Ms. Pinkley?
Okay.
Number two, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and safety service director to enter into a contract with DLZ Engineering for engineering design services proposal for East 5th Street Stormwater Study Phase 3 and declaration.
Okay, council, you heard the reading of the ordinance. Need a motion to suspend the rules of council, place the ordinance up and pass. Rick?
Make a motion.
Megan seconds that.
Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Curcelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Goman?
Yes.
Ms. Pinkley?
Questions or comments under suspension? Motion passes read.
Motion passes read.
Mr. Ballack?
Yes.
Mr. Bayes?
Yes.
Mr. Beagley?
Yes.
Mr. Burnside?
Yes.
Mr. Curcelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Goman?
Yes.
Ms. Pinkley?
Okay, thank you. Any unfinished business? New business? Report our law director. John, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
Questions for our law director? Our auditor, Chris, you gave some report. Do you have any, any questions? Any questions for our auditor? Bob, you're next. Okay, Bob gave some comments in caucus. Anybody got any questions for our safety director tonight? If none, okay, at this time, anyone wishing to address council, you're welcome to do so. Come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and we're going to ask you, we don't know, we're going to have 10 people, but just ask you to keep it for 3 minutes to get your point across, okay?
Good evening, Eric Rauschenbach, 266 Broad Street. Few points, I guess, as a first, I guess, a citizen, and then a local business owner, and then an employee who works in our city. First, I know that we talk about this every meeting. The live stream for the caucus meetings are still just, I don't know what's going on. It's completely, and you can't decipher it at all. So I was wondering, is there a way to upload those after the meeting as like a clean audio file instead of doing like the live?
You can come down here and do a public records request on the minutes, correct?
And you can get copies of the tape.
Okay.
And there's another thing, I wanted to apologize for that as well as far as last week goes. It was my meeting, there was a lot of chatter. We got a new system in there, the owl, that basically goes to whoever's making noise. It's ultra sensitive. We weren't aware that it was that bad. Our old ones aren't like that. So moving forward, when we're holding meetings, we'll try to make sure there's no outside conversations.
That'd be super helpful.
Because what it does is, if you can have 3, 4 people
Yeah.
talking, and it's,
Yeah, and literally if you cough, that thing's on you.
Did any of you watch the live from tonight? It was last week it was a little junky.
Yeah.
Tonight it was like you couldn't understand a single word. So
Okay.
there was like no.
That was an audio glitch then, not on our end.
Okay. Cool.
Not on our personal end from
Sure.
Silver's office.
Sure.
We've
Yes.
been playing back and forth too, so Brian Higgins from the team office has been helping us. We used his owl last week, we tried to go back to our citizen line, so we're trying to figure out where this is.
Okay. Does the owl, does it record, like, do you guys have a clean file, or is it only, do you guys only post it live?
We also have a tape recorder that records, so that's why you're able to come in there and get
Perfect.
a few minutes.
So that's what's available if we're to request it. Okay, awesome. That's really helpful. Thank you. Secondly, I work in downtown Struthers, managing the renovation of some of the properties on Southbridge Street and State Street. So I wanted to speak tonight just briefly on behalf of Kevin Walsh, who owns 118 Southbridge Street, 6 through 14 State Street. He was really hoping to be in attendance tonight, but unfortunately his flight was canceled and could not make it. He wanted me to, as always, extend an invitation for anybody on council or in our community that's interested in our project or had questions about our project, please stop by. We're available to answer any questions. We certainly want to be as
you're up at
transparent.
25 seconds, so speed it up.
Okay. So was the downtime? Have I been at the podium for 3 minutes, or have?
Period, 3 minutes. And we'll allow you some time for a response or whatever, but go ahead. Continue
Okay,
on.
very good. Again, he also wanted me to just generally speaking state that he is against the demolition of 162 South Bridge Street. Me as a downtown business owner as well. Again, I will just simply state that I would like us to explore all avenues before moving forward with demolishing a downtown building. I think we have a lot of other options that we haven't moved forward with. There's been discussion of building a parking lot behind my property at 167 Southbridge. I think that would alleviate some parking demand. Additionally, on the State Street project, we will be adding almost 40 private parking spots. So when we look at this parking demand issue, we need to, keep all of this in mind. All right.
Can I, council minds, that building's been vacant for several years. That building's been standing there. There's been enough time for somebody to show an interest in it, come up with their architect plans, and bring it to the administration to try to do something. I don't believe that when we start talking about tearing it down, because no one's come forward with any ideas on that building. So our next move is to tear it down. I'm not saying we are, but we're getting prices on it.
Nothing's in, I mean, at this point, nothing's in stone, it's just been sent out to bid to no cost.
Okay.
First of all, second of all, I would say if somebody is trying to come forward, they come with a plan, financing in place, all of these things have to be proven beforehand.
Absolutely.
You obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to think through this. We can't just make some whimsical statement about how we need to save a building. Michael, to your point, has this building been listed on the open market for sale?
It was twice on Mahoney County Sheriff's sale, and that was advertised.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
At the time that the city acquired the property, has it been listed for sale?
It's been sent out through the county. They have sent it out. They have a request for proposals sent to probably over 30 different developers in the area, local developers, developers from Cleveland, from Columbus, and the county is through the court authority.
Okay.
It has been.
I think it's honestly a detriment to put it on for sale, because then we have sold it to a private entity, and we have no control over what actually happens to the building. Right now, it's in a land bank, if I'm not correct, or it's owned by.
Land reutilization.
Okay, so generally, under land reutilization projects like Youngstown, they don't just relinquish that property. They want to make sure that whatever's going to go there succeeds.
Absolutely.
That, we don't want it to change hands in 2 years and us be back in the same spot,
Yeah.
because that's what happened. The bank took it over, it defaulted, and we've been sitting on it for 20 years. Now that it's in our hands, it's kind of up to us to make sure that does not happen again.
It's not mutually exclusive. Just by the nature of listing the property on the open market doesn't mean that you couldn't request that somebody comes to you with a proof of funds and
Sure.
a clear business plan.
Sure.
So that's a moot point.
To an extent, but we don't want
Entirely.
to list it out there for anything. If somebody has a plan, come forward and prove that you have something that's going to be successful, prove that you have the funding to actually do it.
We have many successful business owners and citizens in our city and in the valley. And I think that doing something like just generally listing it for sale on the open market, I think it might draw the attention of somebody that, previously may not have even known it was for sale. I've had discussions with people in this room who are elected officials who had no idea that the city even owned the building. So if that's the case, I think that we'd likely have people in the area that just don't even know that it's an option to acquire the property.
So how long do you, all right, say the city puts it up for sale, how
Sure.
long do you think it should be before it should be up for sale?
I mean, it's an arbitrary number. I don't know what the answer to that is, right? But I think that it needs to be put on the open market. I think if we're talking about public property that's part of a land reutilization program, we need to do everything we can to ensure that it's been made to the public.
Have you been in that building?
I have.
Okay.
And I will say this.
It's in sad shape.
It is not. It is in far better condition than any one of the properties I'm currently renovating in downtown Struthers. That is not an overstatement or exaggeration. It is truly in better shape than all of the buildings that we're renovating in downtown right now.
So are you interested in yourself?
I've got a lot of projects going on.
I am.
Rick,
I'm just
let me know if you want to partner up, I'll do it, all right? No, if I had the means to take it on, I'd certainly be open to it. If anybody wanted to work on the project and wanted advice from a fellow downtown business owner on what's worked for me and some of the contractors I've used, I'd be willing to work with anybody who wanted to try to save that building.
Okay, what's your third? You said you had three.
Kind of melded, kind of shifted from being an employee of someone who's managing the renovation, and then again, so outside of Kevin, I own a building as well. So I guess we kind of shifted there from me being someone who lives and works in downtown. Well, then there's, I guess as a citizen, I was just mentioning the bit about the live stream, but I think those all three.
Okay.
I will say, again, just to kind of echo all of this, as a citizen of Struthers, as someone who lives on the north side, as someone who works in downtown Struthers, I'm in downtown Struthers a lot. I work in downtown every day. I patron the restaurants in downtown Struthers. I don't want to see a massive void in our downtown. It's a slippery slope. There's not a
I'm sure with council and administration, we've been talking about that for years,
Yeah,
and we'll keep it under advisement.
yeah, yeah, please do.
If I could, too, Mike, a lot of times what we want, I don't wanna see the building knocked down. I can tell you everybody here doesn't want to see the building knocked down, but a lot of times what we want isn't the same as what the city needs. And that's why a lot of us were put in these positions, these elected positions, to make those hard decisions for the betterment of the entire city. So I know we had this discussion,
Yeah.
we keep
Yeah.
discussing it, and I understand, I respect your point of view and where you're coming from, and I understand every single aspect that you spoke about, but
Okay.
we have a whole nother side that we should look at it for the city.
And I understand that. It's just short-sighted. I think we ought to put it on the open market to see if it stirs any more interest. I think that we haven't exhausted all of our options yet.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah,
Eric.
hey, I
We'll
appreciate it.
keep all
Thanks
that
for helping me gather
information
a
under
little bit.
advisement.
Yeah,
Eric, appreciate it.
yeah, of course, thank you.
Is there anyone wishing to address council also? Name and address for the record.
Bill Almond, 604 West Omar. Two things. I think it's a bummer to see the building go too, but how would a guy interested in preserving history a little bit get access to it for some photographs? I'm in the model railroading. I'm working on a model for a blast furnace. I love to get measurements.
What, you want to buy it, or?
I wish, but I have soul crushing.
So
student loan
what
debt.
what is
Catch
the
me in
purpose,
2 years.
what is
I'll
the
hit you
purpose
up.
of taking pictures of it?
What's that?
What's the purpose of taking pictures of it?
Mostly for the historical record. In the last 20 minutes, it sounds like there's a lot of photos I don't know about downtown at the Historical Society, but the postcards I've collected off eBay are pretty much all I've seen of Struthers, like pre-1995, as far back as I can remember.
So you just want to take pictures for your own personal self?
No, I mean, I'd end up donating to the museum in the scheme of things. I mean, I would be selling them if that's what you're concerned about. It's not
No,
a
I'm
profit
just,
thing.
I don't know what the purpose of the pictures are. Just for
Okay.
yourself?
Well, for me, for model railroading purposes, to build a model of that building.
Oh, I see
Because
what you're saying.
there is,
I
like,
got
the guys down on Fulton Avenue, the guys out in Austin.
I got you, I
There is an
understand.
interest in it. I spent most of COVID going back looking at Camel Works and copy and pasting a guy that I guessed is 5'10" to measure the height of those furnaces, stuff like that. Man, if I just had access to the building with
Well,
some
that would
photos.
be something the administration would have to grant
Okay.
you on.
We can take you through that building, we can pretty much take you through anything that you want to know.
Okay.
We have keys to some of the other things.
And safety's
Anytime.
not a concern. I got PPE. I don't know how bad it is. I mean, I know it's been empty, and empty is rough. My house was empty for 3 years, and I don't know what happened, but boy, it was rough when I got in.
If you hang out at the meeting, I can give you my number.
Okay. Sounds good. The
Okay,
second question is up on Omar. We used to only have 2 neighborhood cats, and that was pretty sweet because it kept the rabbits handled. I just wanted to know, like, how do I find out about the rules? I was gonna just start luring them in with cat food and getting them fixed and releasing. That way, after a year, I guess, the problem kind of goes away, or however long feral cats live.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Well, what should I do?
I'm sorry, I can take this one too, because I live on the top of Brandon,
Yeah.
and we have cats pooping everywhere. When I tell you, I'm not exaggerating, there's probably 20 cats.
Oh.
We know where they're being fed, we know where they're,
Okay.
and my husband, he can tell me about it again when we get home today. But Angels for Animals has cat traps.
Okay.
We think 2 of the cats, there's a black cat and there's a calico cat that are now pregnant again.
Also hang out on my street.
The top of, is, we know exactly which house it is, but we did put in legislation recently for that, council did, and I know personally, we're gonna be getting some of their state traps and
Okay.
the cat to Angels for Animals. I think they were busy this last weekend, and they told me that because they had their big garage sale, so,
So hang tight.
it's like, we're gonna be doing, me and my husband are gonna be doing that.
Yeah.
I'm no joke, there's at least 20.
I just didn't want to go crazy, start collecting cats and find out.
Please don't do that.
Well, I mean, and getting them fixed and stuff, so,
Alright.
that's all.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else wish to address council, come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Ralph Blanco, 158 South Bridge Street. I own the building at East UMSI. So I can give you a little history of, I've been there for over 20 years, so I've seen everything from the cellar to fatties, to pad idea. I don't think it's a good idea for downtown Struthers, just from a business standpoint. So they put it out there. If somebody really wanted that building, people would know and buy that building and do something with it. I think there's been millions of dollars put into it over the years, and I think that's just my personal opinion. So, yeah, you could say it's part of, because I have the building next to it and I want the parking. That's true, but from a business standpoint, just in general, I don't see anybody coming in. You can put it up for sale, do all that stuff, but again, I would be cautious of it. I don't know if the city has any ordinance on when somebody buys a building, how long they have to address renovating that building and not leaving it vacant and not doing much with it. So I don't know if there's a time frame, from a city standpoint to say, hey, you got this building, you gotta make it look good by X amount of time. I think that's something that should be implemented, if it's not already implemented, so.
I could be wrong. Okay, so I think if you get a permit out, Bob, I think you got a year to
Renovate.
get it done.
Now, does the city have a standard, what's the standard, that kind of stuff? If you want to renovate the city and make the city look nice and get people down here, what is the standard? I know there's a lot of grants out there that are better than facades and that kind of stuff, but what is that standard look like?
I think like Mike said, there's permitting through the county, and they have certain time frames, but we are also trying to be, not convenient or understanding, but we want businesses down there.
Sure.
We're not trying to chase anybody out or do anything like that, but
Right. As she said, when you pull your permits from the county, there is a time frame on those permits, are only good for so long. City council has chosen not to enforce any vacant building laws at this time, but it will be something we may consider in the future.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else wish to address council?
I just want to say one thing about that building. I believe back when Mr. Stocker was mayor, there was a problem with the foundation of that building that we had to fill in underneath the sidewalk in front of that building because it was hollow, I believe.
Yes, at one time, those buildings downtown used to have elevators, that deliveries came in the front, and then they would go down the elevator into the basement, and that elevator shaft had to be filled in.
So I would think that would have to be addressed as far as the,
I don't think it has any
Soundness of-
structural effect
No?
on the
Okay.
building itself.
all right.
I think Kelly, 384 Como. I would just like to say, this is my first time being here at a meeting, but I am a realtor. I didn't know that building was available, that it was, I have clients looking everywhere for places to buy, places to rent for their businesses. So it's kind of frustrating to hear about this and know that I've been searching and that this, I don't know if it's been off market, not on market, that kind of thing. And there are people out there. I have worked directly with Eric. I have worked with many people that are willing to revive these things, especially the kind of grants that Struthers is getting, the kind of things that is coming around. And there's a lot of businesses that are personally taking it on, trying to revive Youngstown and Struthers specifically. So I do feel strongly that this is something that, I disagree with the comment about parking, that people would not pay to park or to come a little bit further. I think that could happen. I think with the businesses that are going into Struthers and the fact that we are so strongly Struthers strong, with supporting the locals, that I think that would happen. I personally do think that. I've seen many businesses interested in Eric's properties. I've had many businesses ask me if they can find a place in Struthers, and they're very frustrated with the lack of buildings that are available that are vacant. So that is just my perspective as a realtor. I do believe that we could get people to travel down there. Have I been in that building? No, I have not. If you asked me to go in, I very well would. I've been in all of Eric's buildings, and I would be more than happy to do anything to give any kind of light on both sides. Just as a citizen, it's kind of frustrating to know that I have, this is not even, I don't even know if anyone knows about it, and knowing that as a realtor, there are people that would like to deal with that.
Just like what Della said before, that went up for sheriff's sale twice. And I
Where
think
was this advertised to?
Mahoney County
Okay.
Sheriff's sale. That went up twice, and no one bid on it, so the administration, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, got it into our land bank, hoping that we could do something different. Well, it's been there vacant. If someone was that interested in that building, they could have came to this office up front and inquired about it.
Or at least looked into it, the bank that it was in. I mean, I've bought properties that were bank owned before. You find a property, you're interested in it.
I've done
Do a little bit
yeah.
of research
sheriff's sale, I think it's totaling about 2 years. We took over that property after talking with the county because we wanted to make sure it got in the right hands and didn't keep not working out. At that time, when we put the proposals out, we request for proposals, we had a $150,000 guarantee from the county that whoever purchased that building, even with that $150,000 guarantee, we were getting nothing. Now, these are big-time investors, developers. Nobody wanted to even touch it.
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing how that, even though it's a sheriff's sale, there are multiple different levels of advertising for real estate. There's LoopNet, there's commercial, there is, MLS.
It's never gonna be on any of those. If it's bank-owned and it's getting taken over for back taxes, the sheriff's sale advertises on their website.
Okay, I'll
So-
look into that, 'cause I'm coding and on one of
If you
his
go to
right now.
Mahoney County Sheriff's Sale, don't go to Mahoney County Sheriff's, go to Mahoney County Sheriff's Sale.
Okay.
It'll come up and it'll bring up a list of basically all the past auctions over the last few years and what's coming up. But right now, there's not really that many auctions.
Thank you for your time.
Sure, thank you. Anyone else wishing to address council, you're welcome to do so. Come up, podium, state your name and address for the record.
Walt Rauschenbach on the audio. Hi, Daniel Rauschenbach, 258 Broad Street, also downtown business owner as of recent. I have recently owned, we just finished up owning a business in downtown Youngstown. With coming to the Los Gatos building or whatever we're calling it, it's important to look at when we take something down. I know there's multiple people in here that have said in like the last thing, we'll rebuild a building. No building has been rebuilt in any downtown in Mahoning County. Been there, haven't seen it happen. And if you look at, I think the different things that I say where it comes to parking and walking is proper wayfinding. And proper wayfinding will solve anyone's issue. I know right now it's easy enough to post to say, hey, park here, 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 and here. If anyone ever has to say like there's no parking spaces, look at downtown Youngstown. So I think downtown Struthers in itself, we have ample opportunities, and now with future progress going towards the river, with having a downtown that has more buildings, it's just going to be the opportunity. I understand that maybe the building can't be saved, or understand that it may have to, receive some type of construction. But see if there are parts that we could downsize the building, maybe cut off the first, or cut back, back 50 feet, save the front as a, community, like a caucus place. Find out what the solution is to keep a facade, because once the facades are gone, it doesn't look like a downtown, it looks just something bare. The outside I think disagree with you. You made a comment last week on the thing about downtown Hubbard. Downtown Hubbard, lovely downtown, perfect parking. We need to look into making sure that as we go forward, that our number one promotion is the downtown, because I think right now where Youngstown is falling apart is we have a better situation to do more than Youngstown. Youngstown is deteriorating. Struthers has an opportunity to pick up and steal all this business. I think right now with all of you guys, we have Mahoning River with our biggest aspect of this is, we talk with the spot of the government time. We have the behind-the-scenes field where we're looking for the city property. We need to push that. We need to push the downtown because it's ample. Even though there's only one art space right now, you have Brian Columbus' piece, it's right across the thing. Name it an art district, boom, that opens it up for art grants through the Ohio Arts. When you name different things for different areas, it happens very quickly. I know that we have like the tree capital, whatever. We need to make sure that our facades are real facades and not false facades. And so that's why we need to keep these buildings in our downtown.
Go ahead, Mayor.
I have something to say. A couple of things, and we're down to some things that you touched on. Wayfinding signs, that is very important. When we had the business meeting in my office with all the downtown stakeholders, one of the grants that we received was the safety study through ODOT. That's $1.2 million. And a lot of that is the wayfinding signs. That's going to help entirely down there.
With the ODOT, I know that we're coming through the ODOT to move it into State Street onto downsizing, changing lanes, bike lanes, all those stuff. Please don't vote yes on bike lanes. Like, bike lanes are the most useless thing on the face of the planet. And you look at downtown Youngstown, things like that. Downtown Youngstown has been under construction for the past 10 years. My business ended because I couldn't have parking near my soap gallery. And I mean, it ended. I had a business for 10 years in downtown Youngstown. And it was one of those things. And a bike lane, those bike lanes are to be changed to full parking spaces. There was a thing that said people can't learn how to park on the side of the street, screw you. Like, park on the side of the street and learn how to do it, because, like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah, the example I always give is this. 30 years ago, streets were smaller,
yeah.
and cars were 3 times the size, and everybody drove and they had no
Everyone-
problem. Now, everybody,
You see those pictures? You see these pictures of West Federal downtown, and there's cars this side, there's 2 cars parked in the middle, and there's cars on the other side. When it comes to parking lots, I understand it's convenient to have people be able to come park right in front of you, but if we do let that building go to a lot, we can't let it become private property. It needs to stay public property in the downtown. And it's one of those things, even with CICs, all these other things that have the businesses or the organizations downtown. I love a good nonprofit, but there's nothing like a city owning property, because the nonprofits are going to screw it over. When it comes to, I'm not going to play my fingers on that, but like, it's one of those things that you see all these organizations own property in downtown Youngstown, and that's why people are in court right now. And so, I think when we're coming to this property, you need to think about saving the building, or saving a portion of it, but making sure that, I mean, when you see this little picture, there's a picture right now of looking up South Bridge Street to where the road tracks right now, that's everyone's posting and everything. That's the only building that's left in that postcard shot. History's important, but what's more important is keeping something there for people to come to. I love Elm Street. Elm Street's great. I love the Struthers Plaza. Struthers Plaza is okay. But, the thing is, but I hate Youngstown Film Road. We need to make sure that we think about this stuff. So when it comes to, I'm my way over, but we need to make sure, when it comes to not narrowing the streets, making sure that there's abundant parking. I know this is all going through the mayor's office and not really, I don't know you guys, but we need to think about where we want to see ourselves go. You need to think about where you want to see us go, because if you look at the city of Youngstown, if you look at Lowville, if you look at Camel, those councils have failed. And the reasons they have failed is because they didn't think about 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. And they say, yes, they did. But when you talk to those people, they're still talking about steel mills. And when you talk about downtown Youngstown, we're still talking about closing down West Federal and East Federal and all this other stuff, and people are going to walk around. Who cares? Like, don't have a problem. Sorry.
Just on that Los Galos building, when that was Fatty's and they had the concerts down there, if you look at where people park, they parked everywhere and anywhere they
They
could.
did.
So technically, the bank don't have to let nobody park there. Donna Vito's that has the parking lot,
It's rated by TC.
they don't have to.
By TC, sorry.
They don't have to let nobody park there.
Yeah.
So if you rebuild that building, and these private people have these parking lots, shut these parking lots down, where do these people park?
Well, that's easy. I mean, you have the lot right next to it, and you have the lot across the street. You have the one down next to, I mean, not to, I know that we were at Little Michael's.
Most, not all, most people, when you go patronize a building, they want to park most.
Correct wayfinding. But here's the thing, so this is an argument that I made for years in downtown Youngstown. If you know where the soap gallery was, we were next to the Ohio One building. If you look at Cavelli, it's right there. Cavelli has just under 11,000 parking spaces. They're close to the park. But what it needs is, it comes to proper knowing where things are. It comes to seeing people park there. Like right now, if you're coming down State Street and everyone expects to be able to turn right on State Street, right around onto Bridge, but when there's a car park there, you get more middle fingers than everyone ever else going, oh, you can't turn there. You just have to
Well,
learn it.
well, now that we're talking about that building, there's enough people here to know that building's available, so somebody can know somebody got a plan. Second of all, we don't have funding secured to tear it down, so there could be some time to somebody come up with a plan. But if no one steps forward and we come up with funding,
With their plan.
we are gonna look more seriously at tearing it down.
So, the key thing is, and they're gonna talk more about this, is funding with that, is keep it funding, keep in mind, council, especially council, is, as we're going forward for your wards, we need, so I'm talking as, not to pose, but I'm pretty up there with the arts. And we have an opportunity to make Struthers more of an inviting place for artists and creative tourism than a lot of other places. I feel that most of our wards offer affordable housing. We offer a beautiful downtown, and I would like you guys to think of that in progressing forward,
Okay.
and what that would do.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, I'm gonna go through this real quick, so I'm not sitting here talking the whole time. So the bike lane on State Street is actually a state designated bike route, which was not known for a very long time. So we have to keep in line with what the state is telling us we have to do. Whether or not that's just sharrows and not an actual lane that's shortening, that's something we're gonna be discussing when we had the meeting with all the business owners. That's why we want input from everybody downtown, so that we can try to mold this better to fit what everybody's needs are, or as best as we can. The facade part of the building, we actually reached out to the county to see if there's a way. We talked with Brian Plumbo, we talked with other people about just keeping the front, like Eric was talking about earlier, keeping a portion of the front, or even just keeping literally the front and having that be the face of a parking lot to keep that. We're trying to see if there's money out there through historical preservation, but it's not designated as a historical. We went through the state to see if it was, and there was no tax credit, there was nothing there because it's not designated that. That was the owner, the people that bought the building that we were in, the Silk Gallery. We even had them come and look at those gals, and they're not.
Don't deal with that.
But the other things you were talking about, the brownfield, we have money coming in from brownfield restoration. That whole area, we went through phase 2, we just completed, that's a time thing. So we are going through plans with that. You said about the arts, we have somebody who's interested in the Methodist church that used to run Eagle's Nest. So a lot of entertainment, a lot of art, we just talked to them yesterday, hoping that something like that follows through. Premier Bake, we've had an agreement with them for a very long time that after business hours, we're allowed to use the parking lot. I was not at that meeting when that was said, but that has been an agreement in place for a very long time. So after hours, they open that up to the public. They don't need to do that. We can't force them to do that, but because they're good community partners, they do that. Youngstown Pullen Road you talked about, we've been on a committee for Youngstown Pullen Road with Pullen Township, Pullen Village, Boardman, and Youngstown. We've been meeting with Eastgate. They're trying to reel everything in to make that look and feel and be more safer. So we've been going through meetings. They're trying to put together a master plan for the corridor so that we can go approach the money, whether it be lighting, whether it be safety, whether it be to make that look better. So we've been on the Youngstown Pullen Road.
I think when it comes to money, like, bring the money back towards the downtown, going, like, following the 616 route. But I think, like, in the future, like, in the fall, I'll be doing art walks in the downtown with Fall Fest coming up. That'll be happening. But I think we need to really think, looking around all these awards, I think everyone's awards have really good opportunities to redirect. I know people are hearing about the Ward Bakery in Youngstown, that's kind of close.
I'm gonna ask you to wrap it up. Okay?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
No. Just wrap. No, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, close it.
Just wrap up
Yeah, so-
your finishing
So,
comments.
if you look at the War Bakery, let things fall apart. There are 40 artists that are just getting out there. Not to say that it's deal business with 40 artists. That's a lot of craziness. But it's one of those things, is if we had these buildings, if we had these opportunities to very good find, if we had like a stockpile of money, which everyone hopes for a stockpile of money, but to look to get these people, you know, just steal these people. I know, like, right now, the Council of Warren has now just approached all these artists to move to Warren. And
Okay.
so, it's, you know, that's one thing. I know that's a tough statement to bring artists in, because artists are rough. But, not rough, it's hard, it's just, you know, it's a lot of
Okay.
craziness. But yeah,
Well, why don't we sit down and have a conversation?
Yeah, we are, we
It's been
will,
a while,
anyhow.
and I haven't been to your new place, we've had AAU every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I haven't been able to even get there, but let's have a
Yeah.
conversation, we haven't touched base. in a
sorry
while.
for talking.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else wishing to address council, come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
I have balance issues, can I address from here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Melanie Rauschenbach, I live at 266 Broad Street. Um, I think an important thing when they say putting the building on the open market is you have to remember that most of the downtown right now is owned by a guy in Florida. And I think if we had a real estate agent, a commercial real estate agent, that advertised nationwide, we may pull, who knows, a former Struthers graduate that's made it big and wants to make a difference in their hometown, hey, come buy that building, you know? I think that those are things we're not considering. You made the comment, well, now all the people in this room know this building is for sale. So,
But private,
you know,
previously to the city getting in their land bank, it was under the Mahoney County's hand. You know, when you see if you're that interested in that building, and you see a vacant building, you start asking questions,
but those
start
are, but only local
inquiring
people.
within.
Yeah, and only local people are seeing that building. Where, you know, there's so many times I've talked to people in Struthers that didn't even know there was a downtown. So there's people right here that haven't been through the downtown probably in years. But I think what we need to remember is, once a building's gone, there's nothing bringing it back. You know, we used to have buildings on both sides of Bridge Street, and buildings on one side of Bridge Street now. We've lost so much of the inventory, and it would be a shame to lose even more. And I had businesses in the downtown for 20 plus years. I never asked people where they parked because it was never an issue. I mean, during the 90s, I had 3 employees at a time down there, and we were busy all day long. We were in 3 buildings and customers all the time, and nobody ever said, oh, I couldn't find a place to park. I don't know where they parked. I didn't care where they parked. They were coming into my business, and so it wasn't an issue. And at the time I started in the downtown, there were 34 businesses in the downtown when we first started down there. So you see how much we've lost, but we've lost a lot of the buildings too. So I think it's important that we don't lose any more. And you have to remember too that, you know, if you visit Columbiana, there's a building very similar in Columbiana to this one, a 3-story building that has antiques in it. I was down there a couple of months ago, and we were on the sidewalk walking, and we had to say, excuse me, on the sidewalk because that's how many people were down there. And that building was packed, and it was very similar to the Los Gallos building. It had a diner in the back of it, it had antiques on 3 floors, and that really attracted a lot of people to their downtown. They had a public parking lot there, which we're gonna have public parking lots. They have, as far as I know, some public parking lot. There may be more on the back street, I don't know.
Well,
So I think the parking is not maybe as big as an issue because, you know, the businesses that were in there were successful.
but like it says, if Premier Bank don't have to let nobody park there,
Well, no, I understand that, but,
Donna Vito's don't have to have nobody. You know, Linda, you can shake your head all you want. It's the reality of life. They don't have to let people park in their parking lot.
well, the other reality
They don't.
No, they don't, but the reality is too, there's also an area down there now where the house was demolished that's sitting vacant. And of course, that could be a parking lot. And I think maybe if you got the business owners and the building owners together, came up with a plan of making that a parking lot. You know, that would probably make a lot more sense. The newsstand parking lot is going to offer, I think, 40 spaces, 40 parking
Well, I guess that's an idea. That'd be administration idea if they want to list it or not, but there's no funding to tear it down available. They are looking.
What is the price tag on that building? It doesn't look good.
Well, I have no
We
idea.
don't have a price tag.
There is no price.
We would have to have somebody that would have to have financial
Financial
backup.
backup,
Because
yeah.
you're looking at least, we've talked with other people, they're even saying 1.5 million to put into that. And that's, I mean, some of the investors we had interested, even with the $150,000 guarantee of money, we're saying there's no way.
But also, this is no different than what Youngstown does with their land bank. They just don't relinquish property. It's not like, I want this property, I'm gonna do something to give it. It doesn't work that way. They're then responsible to make sure that that property becomes successful.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it's just we're looking for somebody to take it. I don't, you know what I mean?
understand that. I bet there's a lot of very creative people in this
There-
country, and I think that somebody can come up with a business plan.
You're right. And there are a lot of good ideas. You guys have made a ton of headway looking to the future for parking. Digging out behind those buildings, huge. It's going to increase flow. The other parking lot is huge. But I'm also standing on the fact that how many storefronts are you guys going to have? Before,
On State Street?
yeah.
There are 5.
So I'm looking at it in the sense that for a long time, there's been nothing going on State Street. I love it you guys bought the building. In your corner 100%. But also, if those 5 buildings are successful, we are going to start to have parking. And we did 20 years ago when Los Galos, not Los Galos, but when the cellar, there was a ton of parking issues.
When I was a kid, State Street was 100% occupied. Those businesses parking additionally were adding 40 parking spots to keep up with parking demand for the State Street properties.
When I was a kid, my brother managed the cellar and those buildings. I helped with Patty's, I had to work there when they did some of the remodel. So I had been through it through the years, and I think Ralph, you were there at that time. Was there parking challenges? Non-set. Yes, and businesses, and I'm being honest because it's not my opinion, I was there for parts of it. So I think that, love the fact that you are gonna do 5 storefronts there, and you are gonna bring people, and I think you're gonna be very successful in your endeavor down there. I also think that is gonna bring more challenges for parking. Even though you're alleviating a portion of them, it's still, there were fights between the cellar and Donavito's. There, because of parking, I mean, it was like that. That's why, in my opinion, again, I love the history of downtown Struthers. I'm for a successful downtown Struthers more than I am of a historical downtown Struthers. That's my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, but I want to see a success. I want to see the 5 storefronts that you put in have people who park in the Los Galos parking lot, because it will be, if it is a parking lot, frequent your businesses, go over to Donavito's, and just kind of increase flow in downtown of hitting all those storefronts. Make it a part where you park here and you walk the 5 different places. That is kind of the way that I see it. However, with that being said, I'm not putting any money in that. Whatever businesses you did, I'm behind you 100%. The city, from the city aspect, I feel like they need to do whatever they think is best to make sure to aid in your success and every other downtown business's success. And I think that's what the mayor is at. I think that's what we're all at. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah,
I
in the
think
beginning,
let's focus on the dirt lot we have down there now, though. You know, let's focus on putting parking there first and see if we don't have enough parking, because we don't want our slogan to be, come visit our downtown, there's nothing to see to be up plenty of parking.
yeah, and that property, our intentions are for parking there. The problem is retention wall that would need to be put in there is $500,000. Nobody is giving us money for that. The money that would be utilized from the county for the demolition, we can't just say, oh, put it here instead. They have money for what it's for. If we could do that, we would. But we have been looking for money for parking. There's just nobody right now that's giving it. There may be in the future. We looked at permeable parking, so it's environmental friendly, with stormwater. We've been looking at those options. And I want to just remind you that we've had the building in the city's land bank for 3 years now. We've probably brought in over 30 different investors, local, some from Texas,
some from California, like, these people have done these and have proven records. The one just bought the building that the soap gallery. They're all coming back and saying the same thing. It's not worth the investment that it would take. So it's not like we're not trying. I've had fights with ECMSI and I said, we are not doing this because we're gonna try, we're gonna try, we're gonna try. But we feel like that's the point we're at. And
Would you consider looking into those personal estate agencies and see if somebody's on the other part of
I mean, we'd have to discuss that. We'd have to discuss with council, because I feel like we're at that point. I don't know that it could hurt, but I feel like we've already done our due diligence with this building. We've been, I mean,
And I'll say this too, the three of you that spoke tonight, Dan, I don't know you, Eric, I talk to you all the time. Every conversation we have is always a good conversation, and I feel like we agree on 85% of everything. And half the time, we're just saying it in a different way, and we end up in an argument that is good. I enjoy it. And you guys are always respectful in your argument, the same way I am with you, and I honestly, I enjoy the back and forth. I really do.
Moving forward, if the building does come down, could we just try to make sure that it stays city parking? That
that's.
100%.
Yes.
You're not-
President?
Go ahead.
May I speak?
Yes, Bob Wood.
First of all, you're bringing up parking in, it's probably my fault that I said we'd make it parking. And if there's not a need for parking, then maybe it'll become a pocket park. You know, we can do something on the river, or on the creek down there. If it's parking is not the need, then we won't do parking. But the building is becoming a liability to the city. So the building's demo has to do with the building demo, not necessarily with parking. Okay,
But this
parking
place-
would have been a benefit from it being demoed, but if it becomes a park instead of a parking lot, that's fine too. But the building is still a liability to the city at this point.
Bricks are falling off on the
I
sidewalk.
feel like
I
it
mean,
also aids in more investment, I really do, as far as if it did go to parking. I mean, you guys have 5 storefronts,
No.
I just feel like it does.
The reason we invested in downtown Struthers is because we thought that Struthers wanted to save and rebuild their downtown. So if we lose this core building, again, I mentioned it 2 weeks ago at the meeting, from a mile away on State Street, you see that building at the end of the road. It's a core part of our downtown. You look at some of the other downtowns in our area, and they've been demolished, they're not attractive, they're not a place you want to go. This is a great opportunity to start rebuilding our downtown. We're in a really unique position, and if we lose any more buildings,
I feel like we
Let
are
me a-
already rebuilding our downtown, right? That's what you're doing.
yeah, we're trying to, but this is our opportunity to stop where we have, right? We've demolished a lot of buildings in downtown, there's not much left.
What-
We do have people who have approached the mayor about building in downtown, trying to find viable buildings.
I have a question.
Nobody's built in
But
downtown
we-
since the 80s when they built PCMSI
They
building.
have reached out, so they are interested in pursuing
I'll be
building.
waiting, I hope they do.
all right, I
hope they
think,
do as
I
well.
think what we need to do is we need to wrap this conversation. Go ahead.
Quick comment, is there an opportunity, I recognize this isn't a great forum for having these types of discussions.
I think what we need to do is, if we need to have a meeting scheduled with the
Sure,
mayor in the
alcohol
office.
Of sorts.
All right, can we do that? Okay. Anyone else wishing to address council, you come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. If none, reminder this Saturday,
Michael.
Can I say something? I don't know if you allow me to.
name and address for the record.
Okay, Linda Springer, and I live at 4943 Lynn Street in Boardman. But I'm the president of the Struthers Historical Society right next door. And I don't want to see the building tore down either. It is historically significant. It was once an air raid shelter for this area. If we were going to be attacked, which thank God we never have, well, we did with 9/11, but thank God we never needed it, but it was an air raid shelter, so it's built really well to withstand a lot. But, I think it's very historical, and if you want me to try to find information to show you that it's historical, or to prove it's historical, that we should keep it, I mean, I hate to see anything else be torn down. Everything's been torn down in Struthers, everything.
Well, you know,
There's nothing left of what I grew up with, nothing. I grew up here.
Times changed, Linda.
Well, it's sad.
Well,
And
it is sad,
as
but it
far as
takes money.
As far as parking, listen to me. The Cavelli Center, they said, oh, it can't be built, there's not enough parking places. I said, that's ridiculous. We go to Cleveland, we would go to the Cleveland Indian games with our kids all the time. We park 5, 6 blocks away to go to the Indians game. If people wanna come, they're gonna come.
Yeah, I agree there.
We don't, but we don't need that much parking. Come on, how busy is Louis Struthers? That you gotta have giant.
It's real busy.
Well, you need to support these people.
Hey,
You've
I
got-
love what they're
You can't talk about 20 years ago. You got young people that are interested and have ideas, and you need to go with them and work with them. Because I think that's.
I think
that's-
the administration has worked with
We spend a
them.
lot of time on the phone, through emails, we are very open to discussion, and we've been very
But
transparent.
just don't discourage them. I'm thrilled that they want to save the city, and
I love
please,
what they're doing.
let the building sit for a couple more
We'll
years.
save
Just
them.
see what happens.
They are
But-
right.
Birds fly in the window, more broken windows.
Yeah, because when somebody
Think we have
leaves
to
them
give it
open,
3
I've
months.
gone by and windows are open. I'm in Struthers. I know, I see things. Who the heck's going in there opening windows so the birds can't come in?
Kids, we just had a report, kids broke in and busted through the glass. They were.
Oh, really?
They broke in and there was glass everywhere
Oh, wow.
that they broke in, they ripped everything off, so we had to go reboard everything up again.
Because I know millions of dollars has been put in that building.
You're gonna get it back in your return.
Pardon?
You're gonna get it back in your return.
Mike, can I?
Yes.
Real fast, 320 West Hilltop Drive, Hazel. I just want to say, like, me, Bob, and Kat personally went into that building, like, on our own time and cleaned the nastiness out of it for hours, so that some investors could come and look at it. Like, we're not just willy-nilly sitting here saying, let's
Oh.
knock this thing down, you know? I think it was everybody's intention, like, I have pictures of us filthy, covered in dirt. The mayor and I carried heavy stuff out of that building, we paper and dumpster, personally cleaned it out, and people could come see it from Texas or wherever they were from. Like, this isn't like, this has been an ongoing for years, you know, like, we obviously, if someone showed up and was like, you know what, we have this investment and we wanna buy it, heartbeat, like, we would definitely, we want what you want, but we need to move forward, and I think another point to be made is, this building is not about parking. Everyone wants to bring this back to the parking.
Yeah.
It's not about the parking.
You can park on the other side
No
of the
one's
building.
sitting here saying, you know what, we need parking, let's knock that historical building down. That's not what's happening here. This is not about parking. My 2 cents.
It's just
I think that's
upsetting.
it.
It
Not a
upsets
dollar.
me so much to see things torn down. When they tore down, when you guys tore down that building going into Yellow Creek, I was so upset. No one ever let the Historical Society in there, and there was things that we could have at least taken and put in.
Well, let me remind you something, Linda. When I had the Oddfellows Hall, I took pictures in there, I brought these folks in there, and nobody showed an interest in it.
I wasn't in it.
Well, your family was. Yeah, and I took pictures, and I gave it to the Historical Society. Where's it at? It's in the attic. Is it on display for people to see? No.
Our house is so little, there's no
I
room
understand,
to
but you
show
can hang,
another thing.
I took pictures of the Oddfellows Hall, and I had,
It's in the office.
the pictures hanging in the office?
It's not hanging, but it's in the office.
Well, the last time I seen it was in the attic. But I had people come in to remodel that house. They wanted $150,000 remodeled. They wanted $500,000 to restore to its original, and nobody showed an interest. So, you know what I do? I took pictures, I gave it to the Historical Society, I tore it down.
That still breaks my heart.
Well, I'm sorry.
And
But
we
it-
do have
it takes
people
time.
building on these too. So we had to knock the building down in early 2020, across from Parkside Church. I think it used to be the old library.
The old
And we
library.
now have somebody who's building, who purchased that property from the city land bank, who's putting a business there and building. So we are trying to replace these things with buildings.
with businesses.
But there's so many empty places. In fact, where the Yelich building was torn down, if you look at old pictures, it looks exactly like that now. All you have is the house on the corner.
And we have that building too. We have the Yelich building, it's one of the most beautiful in the entire city. We've taken people in and out of there like crazy. The owner actually gave us the keys to show it to people to try to bring the right people in, because we don't want the wrong people getting in there. But we have that beautiful building too, that the back wall is completely collapsed. But that's the point we're getting to. When is it time?
Enough's enough.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to come up? You're welcome to do so. If none, okay. Reminder, May 1st is Police and Fire Committee at 6, and follow that's financial legislation. This Saturday from 11 to 1, they got an open house for the new school bus garage from 11 to 1, open to the public. Come up and see, come and see that. Anything else? Motion adjourned, council meeting. Ronnie seconds that.
Yes. Mr. Ballack? Yes. Mr. Bayes? Yes. Mr. Beagley? Mr. Burnside? Mr. Carselli? Yes. Ms. Goman? Yes. Mrs. Pingley?
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.